Good evening. My name is Saraya Mia and you're watching AWANI Tonight. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has issued a stern warning against parties that use race and religion to promote strife. This is ahead of a rally this weekend organised by groups that suggests that Malays are under siege.
Saya telah mengarahkan seluruh pasukan keselamatan untuk waspada kerana orang yang desperate atau rasa tercabar akan menggunakan sentimen ini dan rakyat yang miskin akan diupah untuk menimbulkan apa-apa juga kekacauan. Jadi saya ingin tegaskan dan kabinet bersama dalam hal ini untuk memastikan bahawa keamanan, perdamaian semua kaum dipertahankan dan tidak akan bertolak ansur sedikit pun terhadap mana usaha-usaha yang akan mengganggu-gugat keselamatan negara.
The rally this Sunday at the Impiana KLCC Hotel will see former two-time Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad as one of the key speakers. The Malay Proclamation rally organised by Secretariat Tanah Air is expected to discuss matters surrounding the plight of the Malays. He said the government will also beef up the security ahead of the expected rally. All government machinery are urged to help in post-flood operations in Johor. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said the Finance Ministry has also approved all additional allocation of 150 million ringgit for the efforts.
The government, he added, has distributed 1,000 ringgit cash aid to over 16,000 households of flood victims and would continue assisting them through post-flood relief programs. He also urged NGOs, universities and volunteers to go to the ground and help the affected families because the task is too heavy for the Johor machinery to deal alone. Anwar said he had also asked Selangor Menteri Besar Datuk Seri Amiruddin Shari to provide volunteers for the post-flood relief work. According to Anwar, a total of 82,831 victims were moved to temporary relief centres in Johor during the floods, and 26,879 evacuees are still at 120 centres in the state.
Cybersecurity threats in Malaysia have been increasing recently in terms of frequency and severity of attacks. Communications and Digital Deputy Minister Tioni Ching said last year alone, Malaysia faced a number of serious cyber attacks, including ransomware attacks, data leaks and cyber scams.
Data by Cybersecurity Malaysia revealed that there were 4,741 cases of cyber threats in 2022, while this year 456 fraud cases were recorded as of February. Teo said the National Scam Response Centre or NSRC received a total of 3,482 genuine calls, recording losses of 27 million ringgit for January and February this year alone. She added that NSRC, established October last year, received over 4,000 calls each month, but not all calls were genuine. The government allocated 10 million ringgit to NSRC to upgrade equipment and start a campaign to raise awareness and promote the NSRC's 997 hotline under Budget 2023.
Investor confidence towards Malaysia took a hit amid a few years of political uncertainty, followed by the COVID-19 lockdowns. Imran Yusuf from MIDF Research discusses areas where the government can focus on to restore confidence and attract high-value investments.
Whether we can attract this investment, of course, a lot of the decision will be based on the company's strategy, but having the right infrastructure and ecosystem does help. And one important factor is increasing what in the economic realm we call credible commitment, taken from a 17th century England where separation of powers of parliament, the executive and the judiciary led to a period that included the Industrial Revolution. So what this means is that a strong institution and the rule of law, so that investors know that their investment are protected and there is recourse. This include projects and approvals awarded maybe from the previous administration. And then, of course, investors like certainty. That is very important. So even if there is a change of government, We have had change of government before, so if we have a change of government, then we can expect certain policy to remain in place. That's why I think one thing that have been quite conducive for Malaysia in terms of investors, where we do have some sort of policy certainty, for example, in the realm of in the area of incentives for investors.
With big names such as Tesla and Amazon putting their trust in Malaysia, will this bring in more quality investment into the country?
Big investment does create or enhances the infrastructure and the ecosystem needed to attract others. So if you have Tesla, then you might have battery makers here, Amazon, for example, AWS, then you will attract other parts of the ecosystem to come here as well, the big ones. And then also we can develop our own ecosystem here as well, as much as what we have seen with the E&E industry that's been happening over the years.
We'll go for a quick break. We'll be right back.
Cuaca panas menyebabkan kelemomor minyak dan kegatalan? Tewaskan kelemomor dengan Clear Ice Cool Menthol. Teknologi 3 kali ganda membersih kulit kepala secara mendalam. 3 kali lebih bersih. Tiada kelemomor, tiada minyak, tiada kegatalan. Clear terbukti menewaskan kelemomor.
Thailand's Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has issued a decree to dissolve parliament, paving the way for elections in May. He told local media that he has submitted the decree for royal endorsement during a trip to Chiang Mai today. By law, a national vote must be held within 60 days of the dissolution of parliament. The Election Commission has initially penciled in polling day for May 7th, but a final date will be confirmed later on. The former coup leader is seeking to extend military-backed rule despite his widespread unpopularity. However, he has to grapple with voter discontent arising from living costs remaining elevated, even though inflation weakened to a 13-month low last month. Meanwhile, a doctor's report has revealed that at least 22 Myanmar civilians have died in a suspected massacre by the military junta last week. This was according to a post-mortem report by a doctor who is part of the National Unity Government.
Conflicting accounts have emerged in the aftermath of the killings. A military junta spokesperson said its soldiers had been involved in clashes with rebel fighters in the Penlang region of southern Shan state, but had not harmed civilians. It claimed rebel groups entered the village of Nainin after the army arrived to provide security, and when fighting broke out, some villagers were killed and injured in the crossfire. The rebel groups, however, said that they found dead bodies scattered at a Buddhist monastery when they arrived at the village a day after. The doctor's report revealed that automatic weapons were likely used at close range to kill 22 people, including 3 Buddhist monks.
In other news, New Zealand will ban TikTok on all devices with access to its parliament by the end of this month, becoming the latest country to impose official restrictions on the app. Led by the United States, a growing number of Western nations have banned the use of the Chinese-owned app on government devices, citing national security concerns.
According to New Zealand's Parliamentary Service, the decision was taken after advice from cybersecurity experts and discussions within government and with other countries. The app would be removed from New Zealand lawmakers' corporate devices on March 31st, after which they would not be able to re-download it. Legislators have also been instructed to uninstall the app from their private devices, adding that failure to comply may render them unable to access the parliamentary network. The US, UK and Canada have recently ordered the removal of the app from all government phones, citing cybersecurity concerns. TikTok has come under increasing scrutiny due to fears that user data from the app, owned by Beijing-based company ByteDance, could end up in the hands of the Chinese government, undermining Western security interests.
Now, Chinese President Xi Jinping will visit Moscow next week after being invited by his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. This will be Xi's first visit to the capital since the Russian invasion of Ukraine over a year ago.
According to China's foreign ministry, Xi will be in Russia from March 20th to March 22nd for a state visit. China said the visit intends to find a political resolution of the Ukraine crisis. However, the US and NATO said Beijing's efforts to mediate are not credible, as it has refrained from condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine. China has also condemned Western sanctions on Russia and accused NATO and the US of provoking Russia's attack on Ukraine. Meanwhile, a statement by the Kremlin said that the two leaders would discuss further development of comprehensive partnership relations and strategic cooperation between Russia and China without mentioning Ukraine. Xi's last visit to Russia was in 2019, although Putin and Xi had met several times at official events in other countries last year.
Protests broke out across Paris following the French government's decision to force through pension reforms without a vote in parliament. President Emmanuel Macron brought forward the reform involving raising retirement age from 62 to 64, justifying it as pertinent to saving France's pension system from going bankrupt. Thousands of people came out on the streets of Paris and other French cities to reject the move, singing the national anthem and waving trade union flags. Some protesters clashed with police, who fired tear gas into the crowd. Local media reported at least 120 people were arrested in the clashes. The pension reforms had sparked 2 months of heated political debate and strikes. Finally, Prime Minister Elizabeth Bourne invoked Article 49(3) of the Constitution, allowing the government to avoid a vote in the Assembly. The decision was taken minutes before MPs were scheduled to vote on the controversial bill because there was no guarantee of winning a majority. Unions had vowed to maintain their opposition to pension changes, with another major strike being planned for next Thursday. Being a public figure comes with high social responsibility. According to former news personality turned host and radio announcer Hawa Rizwana Rizwan, as content creators, it is crucial to ensure that any messages and products endorsed online are well-intentioned and have substance.
To me, have something extra and have the right intention. It's not all about glam, because right now, especially with all these social media platforms, everyone can easily be famous, be known easily,
exactly.
For good reasons or the opposite reasons. But to me, have the right intention, because if you truly have a passion to give information to other people, to be the first to give the right exact information to other people, and at least have something extra. If you're into fashion, you can be a fashion journalist, you can be a fashion TV host. If you're into law or policy, you can be a news presenter, or you can be a TV host, but to be the one that people inspired, you have to have something extra.
Hawa also talks about what it takes to build a personal brand that resonates with the public and is long-lasting.
It's not all about the money, it's about your credibility, and it's about how people see you. If you promote like everything just because of money, your image. So I think we should choose and be sincere about it, because as you grow, and I think experience do help, and the people around you that advise you, I think you have to pick and choose the products that you really use. And if you haven't used it, I think you should like experience it before you share, because that's the responsibility. And anyone can be influencers, but to maintain, because everyone can easily be famous, but for survival, for long term, you should be more careful and be wise in choosing.
Tune in to the full episode on It's About Youth tonight at 11 p.m. That story wraps up Awani Tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again.